Hey everyone, welcome to our live stream where we are going to spotlight a Betterpress set called it's called Butterfly Silhouettes. But while we're doing that, we are going to dive into Glimmer and Betterpress. So there's going to be lots of information. I haven't done this in a while, and I'm really excited to be doing it live. So if you're watching this live, awesome, amazing, so great you could make it. If you're watching it on replay, that's good too. Because even the people watching it live are probably going to go back and watch some of this on replay just to review it again. Hey guys, welcome. We'll just give everyone a minute or two just here to pop in. Isn't it a gorgeous day? I don't know where you're all tuning in from, but here the sun is shining. It is a perfect fall day. I'm actually really hoping right after this live that I can go and squeeze in a walk before dinner. And yeah, you want to take advantage of every day like this for sure. Everyone's saying beautiful afternoon. It's a gorgeous day. And we're going to make it even better because we are going to play with our Betterpress and our Glimmer machine. And I'm going to show you all kinds of fun things. So to get started, what I'm going to do is put a little slideshow on here just to show you the set we're going to be working with. And no, I like that other one better. How did I do that? This one will do. The set we're going to play with. And just some inspiration on what you can do with the images once you're done with them. Because I'm not going to get into the inspiration part today because we've just got way too much to cover. So this is the set. It is a Betterpress set. It's made from Spellbinders. And when it is Betterpress, it can be used with the Betterpress machine, which I have right here. It's not really a machine. It's a platform. I'll just get my Glimmer out of the way. So the Betterpress platform. Now, this Betterpress platform is compatible with the Spellbinders Platinum 6, obviously. They are the makers of the Betterpress as well. And you can also use it with the Big Shot. There might be other machines you can use it with as well, but those are the big ones that that people will have. So we're going to work with the Betterpress. And when we say Betterpress, that means you can, this is kind of like a platform for stamping with these plates. And so you can stamp, but then you can also glimmer, which I just set my Glimmer machine off to the side here. And that means you can hot foil. So it's like a dual purpose thing, and it is really exciting. And to watch it is one thing, but to actually do it is another, and it is so fun. Marianne says she is at the Toronto airport waiting for flight. Well, we know how boring that can be, so hopefully I can keep you entertained. Okay, so this is the set. So it has two beautiful butterflies, and the butterflies actually come in in two formats. So let me just put this here so you can see. So you've got the plates here that give you the detail, but then you've got shadow plates, and that is how you can add color. So you can really do a lot of things with this particular plate. So you've got your detail pieces and your shadow pieces. And then, of course, there are some sentiments that come along with the plate as well. And now we're just going to go to the next slide here. How do I do that? Oh, here we go. And this is just going to give you an idea of what you can do with the images once you're done with them. Okay, so here you can see the butterfly comes with a side profile and then a front-facing profile. So this is the side-facing one. And it's just done on black, and I believe this is foiled. I can't really tell you for sure, but that Sending Love is part of the sentiment set that you see in this set as well. And then there is another image of the side profile butterfly, and you can see the color in the background. So this one has been stamped using the Betterpress, and then the color has been added afterwards. And I'm going to show you different ways to do that. Now, if you guys have any questions as we're going along, please type them in the comments. I might not see them immediately, but I will keep checking, and I'm happy to answer them. Here's another one. You can see there's multiple colors in the background there of the butterfly wings. And those are both of the sort of front-facing profiles of the butterfly. These ones, the one on the left anyway, is definitely foiled. You can see that gold on there. So that gives you both images of the butterflies. And then this one is a good example of showing you the middle butterfly has this detail plate, but then the other two are just using the solids. And you can do different techniques with those too. So you don't always have to use the detail plate. You can just do the solids as well. So that's a good one to show how you can do that. There's another one, very basic design with the butterflies. So you don't have to always do something elaborate to get it to look great. And there you've got some really beautiful shading done with those butterflies as well. And that's all just using the Betterpress. So super easy. The sentiments on this one might be foiled. And that's it for slides. Okay, so let's get rid of the slideshow. So that just gives you an idea of what we're working with and what you can do with it. And now I'm going to show you how you can get there. And there's quite a few different ways that you can go about that. So the first way, I'm just going to show you how you simply stamp using the Betterpress to get a stamped impression. Now, when you stamp with a Betterpress plate, the detail that you can get is far superior to that of a photopolymer or a rubber stamp. They can add a lot more detail to the plates and it really picks it up. Now, the controversy has always been, do you have to use Betterpress products to use the Betterpress machine or platform? No, you don't. You can use whatever paper you want to stamp on, and you can use whatever ink you want. Betterpress does have ink and paper that they recommend using with their machine. I will be using my black Betterpress ink pad today, but you can use any form of ink that you want. And then you will also see me deviate to different types of ink. And for my demonstrations today, I'm just going to use plain old white cardstock. I'm going to use Nina 80 pound to stamp on. And then for my foiling, you will see me using Hammermill paper. They do recommend Hammermill for foiling, but you can use other kinds of cardstock as well. My mom was having a little trouble with a plate that she bought in her machine, so I borrowed it from her to use my machine. We determined what the issue was, but I used different types of cardstock when I was testing her plate out too, and they all worked great. So you've got lots of options. Okay, so when you work with the Betterpress platform, I'm just going to tip it on its side here so you can see. The top hovers over top of the base. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that your paper is what you're going to stick to the top of your platform when you use it. The stamp is going to go, or the plate, sorry, is going to go on the base. The base is magnetic, so it will hold your plate in place. But this kind of hovers over top. It's on these little feet that actually move up and down. So when you put this through your die cutting machine, that's what's going to add the pressure to do the stamping. So this will actually push down. And I'll just put a side view here so you can see that. So it pushes down and closes that gap. Okay. So those little feet on the edge here are spring loaded and they just move up and down. So that's how it works. So think about this. Most of you probably know what a MISTI is. The stamping platform that we use with our photopolymer and rubber stamps. And we put the stamp over here on this side, and then we put our paper on this side. We close it, you add some pressure, and it stamps for you, right? So this is the same concept, only it is for a plate versus an actual like stamp. But the plate has the detail on it, and that's what's going to stamp into your paper. Okay, so to get my platform ready to use, I am going to tape my paper to the top of my lid. And this is on the reverse side. So this is how it would sit on the platform. I've just flipped that over. And it does have guides on here. So for an A2 size piece of paper and an A7, which is like a 5x7. And I'm just going to tape this on. And I'm using the Best Ever Craft tape. It works really well. But you can use whatever tape you want. In this particular situation, I'm not going edge to edge with my stamping, so it doesn't matter if my tape goes on to my paper at all. Sometimes that is the case, and you have to be careful with how you position it, but I'm just going to do it right in the middle there like that because I've got lots of space to work with. So now my paper's ready to go. And if I bring my Betterpress back on here, this will just go on and hover over top of my image. And then when it goes through the machine, it's going to push down and it's going to stamp onto that. Make sense so far? So you can't just use regular. No, Heather, you cannot use regular stamps on a Betterpress machine. It won't work. The sandwich of that would include your stamp wouldn't be the right pressure, and you would do damage to both the platform, maybe even your stamps and your die cut machine. So you definitely don't want to do that. Now you may notice that I have, you may not notice if you don't know what it looks like. I'm just going to take this off. This is an extra piece that I've added on. This is a piece of acetate, and all I've done is put washi tape around the outside edges, and that's just so I can see it. Acetate tends to, like if you set it down on your table, it just blends in. You don't really notice it. So I find putting the washi tape on there makes it easy for me to see, and you can see through it. And what that does is it protects this piece right here from getting inked up and really messy. You can replace this piece. It's not a big deal. I just like to keep my things neat and tidy, and this just makes for really easy cleanup. So I just place this over top, and then I just tape it into place so that it doesn't move around on me. And I find that works really well. So you can add that in. It does act as a little bit of a shim. So it's not very thick, so it's not going to do too much, but it can create a shim. Now underneath, oops, I should do this before I tape this back down. Underneath this platform, the Betterpress machine comes with shims, and they're very thin. So they're just little pieces of plastic, and there's 3 of them. And I have all 3 of them in here. For my die cut machine and my stamping, I find having the 3 of them in there works well. If I notice that I'm having any issues, I will remove a shim and see if that helps. But for now, we're going to leave them all in there. And I do have my little protective piece of acetate on there. So now we're going to go ahead and position our butterflies so that we can stamp them out. Okay, so basically you're just going to take your butterflies, and I'm working in that A2 card size rectangle that you see in the back there. So as long as my images are placed within that, then I'm good to go. So if I'm going to ink things up and I'm going to stamp, I may as well just put in the sentiments as well. I have no idea what I'm doing with them. I'm just deciding that I'm going to go ahead and include them in my stamp. Okay, so this is just simply stamping them out. There are matching dies that go with this, so you can die cut out your shapes when you're done. So again, I'm not creating a card front. I'm just going to stamp them out, and then I can decide what I'm going to do with them after. Okay, so we've got them on there, and they're on here on the magnetic base, but they will move if you wiggle them enough. So just like anything else, just be careful when you're applying your ink. Now, I do find working with smaller ink pads, so in cubes or smaller pads like this, is easier than working with a large pad like this. I know I often say, you know, there's more ink on a large pad. If you can do large pads, it's great. But in this particular case, I prefer smaller pad just because it's less messy and you will get less ink on things you don't want ink on. Make sense? So we're just going to remove this, and I'm going to apply the ink by just pushing and turning my ink pad while I'm applying it. You can rub it over like this too. That gets good coverage, but you want to be careful while you're doing it that you don't shift your images around. Now this is okay if they move a little bit because I'm only doing one stamp, but if you're really trying to line something up, you want to be very careful of that. Okay, so I'm just applying a good coat of ink. Now I will say I do re-ink this pad often because you do use ink up, and these little pads don't hold very much. So if you want a good, crisp, dark stamp, you want to make sure that you ink them and re-ink them often. Okay, so now I'm going to just take my piece, the cardstock's on this side, I'm just going to hover it over there, and now I'm going to go run this through my die cut machine. Okay, so I'm going to do that off screen. I can't really bring my machine on the screen. There'll be too much stuff there. We won't be able to see anything. So no special tricks. What you do want to do is make sure that you go through only one direction, and you don't want to race through. Just go through slowly, and you want to make sure that your die cut machine is really, you know, pushing that plate into your paper. And try to just go nice and smooth, and you don't want to go back and forth because there is a little bit of wiggle in that top plate because it's on those feet, and you might risk getting a blurred image. Okay, so Marianne wants to know, do they dry out quickly? Well, so they don't dry out any faster than any other ink pad. Now I've lost my lid. Here we go. But I will say the percentage of ink that is in a small pad like this is far less than what's in a full-size pad. So it is my recommendation that when you buy this, you buy this, because you will want to re-ink. It's definitely a thing. And you want to make sure that you've got enough ink in your pad to get a good impression. Okay, so there we go. Now, if you look closely, can you see that it's dark here and it's kind of grayed out a little bit at the bottom? I don't know if the camera will pick that up. It's just a little faded. I'm going to leave it. It's not going to affect anything that I'm doing, but I did not ink up the bottom quite as much as I did the top. Now, I could try to re-ink and run this through again, but if this butterfly shifts at all while I'm applying that ink, I'm going to get a blurred image. And for me, I think that it's good. So you can see how beautiful those stamps, plates are when you ink them up and press them onto paper. So it's a very simple process, nothing tricky or hard. Linda says it's been a while since she's used her Betterpress. Well, again, this video is kind of designed to remind you to get it out. Or if you haven't ever used one, it's a great segment to watch and learn how simple and easy it is to use this. So that is it. That is all there is to it. I often hear people saying, oh, I'm not going to invest in another piece of equipment. Well, the only thing with a Betterpress is that it eliminates all of those plates, because those plates are not available as actual stamps. So you would just not be able to use those. And if that is okay with you, then no, don't invest in another one. But I look at it like a stamping platform. And it just opens up a whole new world. And the fact that you can use these same plates and get a foiled image, that is a double duty awesomeness as far as I'm concerned. And then somebody's asking, can you use other brands of ink? 100% you can. You can use any kind of paper you want, any kind of ink that you want. Now, if you find that you're not getting good results, then you'll have to switch things up. But I find I'm going to use Pink Fresh inks here in a minute, and it works great with that too. So try what you have. If it works great, awesome. Okay, so that is simply how you stamp. Very easy, right? Now, let's add some color. Sound fun? Okay, so what we're going to do now is just lift this off, and we are going to, okay, we're going to start again because I did it a little bit wrong. But that's okay. That was a good intro. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to take a magnet. This is it here. Now, if you have the glimmer machine comes with a magnet, a magnetic wand. I just don't find it to be very strong. So I don't really use that one very much. You want a good strong magnet when you're using glimmer and when you're using Betterpress. So this is the magnets that we sell that go with the glass boards that are magnetic, and they are super strong and they work extremely well. So you just take this and it's going to pick it right up for you, just like that. Now, if you were glimmering, this would be hot. So it's a really great idea to use a cloth or something while you're working with it. I'm going to have my cloths out. Here we go. Okay. And even with ink, rather than getting ink all over your hands, you guys can see this little platform I have over here. This is for my glimmer machine, and it is silicone, so it will absorb the heat, and it won't, make my glass board hot or anything like that. So this is just sitting here. I'm just going to simply push my cloth on there, and then I can remove it. Now I can lift up this one, push it down. this one, push it down. And I'm not ever really touching the plates, and I'm not getting ink all over me. So this is a great tool. If you don't have one of these and you have a Betterpress or a Glimmer, that's awesome. I used to recommend this fabulous little tool. We might have some left. I'm not sure, but these are being discontinued. So, and then these came out and they're even better and they're not quite as bulky. So I quite like this magnet. So I'll have that close by. And then, so what we're going to do is we're going to put on a registration sheet this time. So this is just a thin piece of acetate and it has that butterfly shape outlined. Let me get a piece of paper there so you can see. Here, I've got some cardstock. Yeah, so it just has these outlines on it. And that is sort of a registration plate. So what we're going to do is both plates that we use, the shadow and the detail plate, we're going to be lining up on this sheet. And then that way they will line up when we stamp them. Okay, so that's step number one. We're going to put down our registration sheet. Now you can tape this in place if you want, just so that it doesn't shift or move. Because we're going to be doing a two-step process. I always err on the side of caution and tape it in place. That way you know it's going to be in the same spot. And again, I'm kind of centering that on the, or within that A2 size line design, just because that's where my cardstock is going to sit. And then I know I'm kind of lined up. Okay. So the next step is going to be to put on a piece of paper. So we're going to grab another sheet of that Nina. Okay, and we're going to put it on top of our platform here. So this is upside down. I'm going to remove this piece that we already stamped. So I can now take this and I can use the dies and I can cut these images out. And if I just want like a black and white image, if I want to use my Copic markers to color this, or if I've got pencil crayons, watercolor, anything like that, I can go ahead and add color that way. Now, if you are using watercolors, let's say, make sure that you're stamping on a watercolor-friendly paper. If you're using Copic markers or Olo markers, make sure you're stamping on an alcohol-friendly paper and you're using ink that will be friendly with those mediums as well. Because not all inks are friendly with those particular things. Like some inks will start to run if you add water, or some will bleed if you start to use your alcohol markers. So make sure that you're using the right products for what you're going to be doing. If you're just ink blending, you know, there's a lot more freedom with that and you can use whatever. So again, I'm just taping that piece of paper in place. And that's just so it doesn't move when I run it through my machine later on. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to stamp our solid pieces again. So I haven't cleaned this. I'm just going to lay it on here and I'm lining it up with the registration plate or registration template that I just taped down. Why is this one backwards? That doesn't work very well. Maybe I have to go this way. No. Maybe I have to flip this over. I'm going the wrong direction. I think I am. Okay, where's my... See, these are the things that you will learn when you're crafting. Because I'm like, why isn't this fitting? It's because I taped it on upside down. And look at that. See, the words are even backwards. But I'm blaming it on the fact that I'm talking while I'm supposed to be paying attention. All right, here we go. Tape it on again. So these are things you might do in your craft room and go, oh my gosh, why isn't this working? Okay, so we're going to pick this up and we're going to put this on our platform. We'll line that up better in a second. And then here's our other one. Look at that. It fits when you put it on the right way. Okay, so this is where I usually grab my tweezers. Oh, they're in the other room. Okay, hold on. I just got to go grab them. I was doing something out here last night. Okay, so this is where I use my tweezers. This is where all these little tools come in handy. And I'm just going to move my plate so that it is positioned perfectly within the registration marks for this template. And that way, when we go to line up the next layer, if we line it up the same way, it'll be good. Okay, so now we're lined up. Now we're going to go ahead and add our ink. So in this case, I'm going to use black. Okay, I'm just going to make sure I get enough ink at the bottom this time. So just take your time. Same thing as when you're stenciling. Just take your time and make sure you're getting really good coverage with your ink pad. And that way you don't have to worry about not getting a good stamp. Sometimes when I do lives, I rush through things and it never pays off. Okay, so now we're going to put this on. And again, I'm going to run it through my die cut machine and we're going to end up with those 2 butterflies and they're going to be perfect. So how many newbies do we have to the Betterpress? Are there some people watching that have never ever seen this before or never used theirs or don't even own one? It's a good refresher even if you've had them and you've used them. Okay, so now we've got our beautiful stamped images. Okay, so I'm going to leave my paper on there exactly the same way. I'm going to remove my my plates, and now what I'm going to do is put on the solid plates. Okay, what did I do with my, oh, nope, they're not there. What did I do with them? Oh, they're right here. Okay, so now we're going to add these plates on instead. This is where we're going to add color. So I could just stamp in a solid color, or you can get creative. You guys know I love a rainbow, right? So I'm going to try to get these in position. I will revisit this after I'm done inking just to make sure that I haven't shifted it, but it's really easy to tell. Okay, so there we go. Now what I'm going to do is introduce color. So remember I said I was going to be using other inks. Well, there are some ink cubes from Pink Fresh. And I'm also going to bring in some blending brushes. And now this is a style of blending brush that you don't see me use very often, but I always say that every brush has its purpose. And this is one time where I really like these brushes. I can't get the same effect using a different style of brush. Okay, let's see here. I have had it for a year and not used it yet. Well, Yvonne, hopefully this entices you to get it out because it's really great. I don't have one, but I'm familiar with the letterpress as well as the Betterpress. Awesome. I do not own one, but I have a friend that does. Yes. You know, again, the Betterpress is not something that I have on my desk all the time. I do have it handy. Like it's easy for me to get it and pull it out. But this is a good sort of reminder to people is use it, have fun with it, and do several projects while you have it out. Like I had a ton of fun creating little samples for this, and I literally did it in a couple of hours. And I have all kinds of embellishments and butterflies that I can now use. So it's a great set. Okay, so what we're going to do now is apply our ink, and we're going to, I love a rainbow, so we're going to kind of do a rainbow effect. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take the bubblegum ink, and I am going to move some of these out of the way here. I'm going to use my pink brush. I'm going to pick up some of that ink, and these Betterpress plates kind of have like a brushed finish on them, and they grab ink quite nicely. So I'm literally going to brush on some pink ink. Okay, and you can go as light or dark as you want. There's some pink. And now I'm going to go in with the Mango Sorbet. So that was bubblegum. These are Pink Fresh inks. Now we're going in with Mango Sorbet. And this is a favorite combination of mine for sure. I'm going to overlap the colors a little bit. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're going to go in with some yellow, which is sweet mustard. Somebody's messaging me. Just ignore that. Okay, we're going to pull in that. Whoop. Now you can see I moved my plate. Don't worry, because we can put it back in place. It is easy to move them. It's magnetic, but it's not super, super strong. So this is where they can move around, but not a big deal. We can reposition before we stamp. Okay, and now we're going in with green. You do have to kind of work a little bit fast when you're doing this because you don't want that ink to dry, but you do have a bit of time. Okay, so now we've got some green. And now we're going to go, that was key lime, and now we're going in with turquoise for our final color, which is blue. And I'm just randomly putting on the ink. Okay, we need to go a little darker with this one. And make sure you kind of overlap your colors a little bit. All right, there we go. So now, where's my tweezers? Right here. We're just going to shift that plate back into place. So not a big deal. Okay, whoops, a little bit too much that way. And that's what these registration plates are, or registration pieces are for. They help you get this lined up. Okay, I'm actually going to take this one off. I don't have to do both butterflies to give you an idea of what it's going to do, because we got a lot to cover here. So, okay, so now I'm going to put this on top. Okay, so that should line that up. We're going to run it through our machine. And that color that we put on that plate is going to press into the paper over top of the detail stamp that we already did. Okay. And then, hopefully this worked out well. You have a beautiful colored butterfly. So you've got that nice crisp black on the top, and then you've got that beautiful color underneath. So again, if you want, now for the bottom butterfly, maybe we'll do this one. If you want just a solid color and you don't want to do the whole blending thing, then we're just going to take that plate off. Oops, I'm grabbing all the plates here. And I'm just going to put this one back on. Because again, our registration sheet has not moved. Everything is good. We're just going to add pink ink. We're going to make a pink butterfly. Okay, I'm just going to take this and rub it all over the whole solid plate. Okay, try not to get any lines because the lines will transfer. So you want to just kind of make sure it's smooth, and you can take your blending brush and kind of move it around. I'm going to put this on top. Make sure that's lined up good. I think it is. This on top, and then we're going to run that through. So that's going to add just a solid pink to that bottom stamp. Okay. So it doesn't have to be rainbow. It doesn't have to be a variety of colors. You can just do something simple and easy as well. And now you have that vibrant pink that has now been stamped into the paper as well. So whether you want color or whether you want just solid, you can do both. So pretty fun. What do you guys think? Pretty nice, right? Okay, so that's, basic stamping, basic coloring. Now, let's talk about how you clean the plates, because if you're going to do multiple techniques with them, you're going to end up with ink on your plates. And now maybe we want to move on to foiling or something. And you're going to be going, well, I can't use all this ink and stuff on here and then go into foiling. Or maybe you want to choose different colors or whatever. So this is where or how I clean them. I find it's very quick and easy. Again, I'm going to pick up that plate. I'm going to use my cloth to do most of the work. I'm going to take my alcohol spray. I'm just going to spritz that, not over top of everything. And I'm just simply going to rub. And all of that ink is going to come off really easily. Now you can take these and go and use, a mild soap and warm water afterwards and really give them a very good clean if you need to. But all of that ink residue is off of there, and this is ready to go. So it's very easy to clean the plates. And I'll just spray this on here so you can see. You can see right away what happens to the ink. Like it just starts to come right off of the plate, and it's very easy. Some inks are going to stain your plates just like they do stamps. So you may get some staining. The nice thing about the alcohol, though, is that when you're cleaning them, they dry almost instantly. So you can go ahead and start using them right away. So I do love that. You don't have to wait for them to dry thoroughly. The alcohol does dry very quickly. So I find this works really well. And then the cloth that I use after this, I'll just go and throw that into the wash pile. And I usually wash them with my jeans. The darks, like real darks, because then, if any ink residue does come off, it's not really going to show on anything. So Don't put it in with your nice white shirts. So this is how you clean the plates. It's very, very easy. Any questions? Just making sure I'm answering everything, because we're going to move on to foiling now, because that's one of the great features of the Betterpress plates, is that you can not only stamp, but you can foil. And foiling is really fun. Okay, so there we go. We've got clean plates. And then this surface here, if I did get ink residue or anything on there, I simply just take this. I'm cleaning off that registration plate, or sorry, template. You know, so if I got any ink on that, the alcohol works really well to clean that up. So there we go. We've got that done. You can reuse your tape. It's all clean for next time. And same thing with my platform. That's why I love having this piece of acetate on here, because I can just clean that off. And you will see some ink marks on there. Those are on the base platform below. And then if this gets, you know, messed up or whatever, I can just replace it really easily with another piece of acetate. So not a problem at all. So that's all ready to go. So my Betterpress is all cleaned up and ready to put away. So that's the stamping part. So again, you can use whatever paper you want, whatever ink you want. They do sell cotton paper. Sorry, we sell cotton paper for the Betterpress, and that is designed more if you want a very deep impression, where it debosses your design, which is very nice. And that's really the concept behind this whole Betterpress thing, is that you get a very professional looking result. So these were my original samples that I made. Once you get them all cut out, so you can see the beautiful butterfly done in rainbow, and that's die cut out just using the dies. And then there's that love word, which is also really nice. And this is the side profile of the butterfly. And then here are the little sentiments that you get. And the die for that, it stamps them all at once. And then the die, you just put it on and it die cuts them all at once as well. So really easy to do. Okay, so that's that part. So let's get rid of all of these things, put them all on the tray so that they're out of the way. And I don't mess up my area, because things are going to get busy here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, bring on my glimmer. I'm going to turn it on and get it heating up, because we want to keep things rolling along. So the next thing I'm going to show you is just a basic foil with the exact same plates. Okay, and again, we are working with the beautiful, butterfly silhouettes. And I'm just going to add this to the stage here. Again, we'll back up. For those who have just come in, this is the set we're working with. And we do have these in stock. It's a really nice staple. Butterflies work for so many things. Mother's Day, birthdays, thank you, thinking of you, sympathy, all of those kinds of cards. And you can get so many different looks with this one plate. That was just basic stamping and basic inking. So now we're going to move on to the foiling, so you can see what that looks like as well. Okay. All right. So we're going to just do a basic foil. And this is just going to give us the image, the detail image in a foiled format rather than a stamped format. So to start, I am going to cut my foil to about a A2 card size piece. Now, when I cut foil, I like to use a ruler and an X-Acto knife. If you are going to use scissors to cut, I highly recommend these. These are the Spellbinders Pro shears. So they have a nice long blade, so you're not having to do a lot of cuts. A couple of snips and you're right through it, because it's really flimsy and it moves all over the place, and it can be kind of a funny thing to cut. But I like to use an X-Acto knife and a ruler. So I just take my foil and I kind of measure out on my grid here. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about a 6-inch piece. So I'm going to go about there. And then I'm just going to lay my ruler right over top. And you can cut on glass and it does not affect it. So I'm not digging in, but I'm just going to run my X-Acto knife right along the edge there. And as you can see, it's super easy. So now we have a piece of foil. I'm using gold right now. And I'm going to position my plates on my glimmer. So right now I've turned it on and my machine is heating up. So this will turn green when it's ready to go. Okay, so this is power. When the platform's ready, it'll turn green here, and then we're going to be good. So this is getting warm. And we're going to start out with these butterflies, the detailed pieces. I'm also going to foil up. I want to leave enough space that I can cut them out. I'm going to foil up the word love. And if I can squeeze this in, doesn't have to be straight, but if I can get enough space, I'm going to put the words in there. I'm just going to grab my piece of paper and just see if I've got enough space here. Yep, I should. Okay. So I'm just going to wait for that platform to turn ready. And then we're going to put our foil on. So when you're foiling with the glimmer, you have to use glimmer foil. You can't use the same foil that you use if you're using a mink or anything like that. So you want to make sure that you are using glimmer foil. And it often comes in a box. So this is a black and white set, but it kind of looks like this. And then, because you'll know right away if you're using the wrong foil. So Yvonne wants to know, can you foil over what you just did? I could, but I stamped it. So I don't need to have that ink underneath my foiling. So I am just going to foil. So yeah, we're not going to mix the two things together. And Audrey's thinking of getting a glimmer. Well, I got to say, it's not something that I have, again, on my desk all the time, but I have it handy. It stores in a little cart. All my foil and my machine and all the tools that I need for it are in that cart. I can just wheel the cart right over. And when I get my machine out, I tend to foil a few things. So if I'll foil a bunch of sentiments, or I'll foil several images so that I have them handy and they're ready to go. But I do have to have a little note on my machine to remind me how to place my foil, because I do flip back and forth from the toner style of foiling and the glimmer style of foiling. So you want to make sure that you're doing it, because they are opposite. And I never remember which way. So I made myself a little note. Okay, so it says platform ready. I'm going to push the timer. I'm going to get this set up. And then, so shiny side down is what it tells me. And I'm going to place my cardstock over this. I got to make sure I get it in the right spot so I get everything foiled. It's kind of a guessing game, but we'll hope for the best. So this is going to be ready. As soon as this stops flashing, we're going to dislodge the platform and we're going to run it through my die cut machine again. So I'm using the Platinum 6. It does work with the Big Shot as well. And the top sandwich here, you get this protection shim. That's what goes down first. I do have a little shim of cardstock. It adds a little bit of pressure, not a lot. You have to kind of play with your machine and see if that's required. And then your top plate. Okay. So as soon as that's done, I'm going to pull this off and we're going to run it through. So it doesn't take long once the light starts flashing. And then we're going to have some beautiful images. Okay, so we're good to go. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to just gently take it out of the base. And I'm going to run it through my Platinum 6. Again, going slowly, just allowing the machine to add that pressure. You don't want to rush. You never want to be in a rush when you're crafting. And it looks like I'm going to have to close my blind because we're going to get sunshine on my desk. Okay. So I'm going to, right away, I'm going to stick my platform back on here and lock it in, which means it's going to start heating again because I just don't want us to have to wait each time. Take off my top plates. Now I'm going to pick this up, let it cool for just a second. Not a long time, but you can kind of see what has happened here. It's pushed the foil onto the areas where that plate was, and some magic happens, and then you're going to get beautiful foiled images. So here they come. Ta-da! So now you have beautifully foiled images. Aren't they gorgeous? So now you can take the dies and you can cut them out. And I'm just going to remove these plates from my heat source here, because what if I just let the plates sit there forever, on the heat, oops, then all that's going to happen is I'm going to end up with problems foiling because, again, I'm using that cloth because these are hot. I'm going to have problems foiling because they get too hot. Oh, now everything's jumping on there. They just get too hot. So it's fine for the platform to be hot, but we want to take those off. So once I cut them all out, you end up with images like this. Okay, so they've been foiled on white. I'll hold one up there just so you can kind of see. So see how beautiful they are? Okay, and that's just on white. So if you wanted to foil in a different color or in a different color of base paper, you can totally do that. So really, really cool. Now, you can do that same concept that we did with the Betterpress. Now, if I want color in the background here, I can take this and I can line up my solid plate. It's a bit tricky because this is a separate piece, and you can apply the color that way, or you can, like I said, foil it onto colored cardstock, or you can use your Copic markers or your watercolors or anything like that to go ahead and add color. So pretty fun. So that is just a basic foiled image. Now, if you want to add the reverse, now the reverse is fun. So you've got this piece of foil left over and you have these images. Now you can just throw this in the garbage, or you can use a solid foil plate, which is this. Okay, I have the pink fresh one. We have one from Prism Studios as well. That one is in stock right now. And this will lay on here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and push that button. We're going to let that plate warm up. And this will allow us to use the reverse of the foil. Okay, so I'm just going to slide this down. Whoa, that's warm already. And we are going to grab a sheet of paper. And I'm going to actually do a couple of different colors. So we're going to cut this out. Let me just grab, I have a couple of extras here too. So I think I have a smaller piece. I do. Okay. So here's one where we've got, I'm going to grab my pro shears here, where we've got a butterfly. Yes, the negative can be used. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a piece of black. So I'm just cutting out the side profile butterfly, this one right here. Okay, I'm going to put that down on there. Shiny side down. Woohoo, that's warm. Yikes. And I'm going to put a piece of black cardstock over top of that. Okay, so like that. And then we're going to put our sandwich over top. And we're going to go and run that through our die cutting machine because our green light is on. Our timer's done. I'm going to pop that off. I'm just going to go and run that through. And then you can create sort of a negative. And you have to have the solid foil plate in order to do that. Oh, look at the sunshine on my desk there. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to push that plate back in. Keep it warm. Take off our top pieces. Okay, we're going to lift this up. And you can see what has happened here is that foil is now part. Oh, I got to go close that blind. Hang on. You can't see anything. Sorry, I forgot to pull this down. All right, let's just lower that. And we'll close it. And then we won't have a problem. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me just show you again. You have the foil, that whole piece has now stuck to this black piece, but I'm just going to slide this out of the way. We're going to put our die on there and let me show you what happens. So let's line up our die. And I have to tape this into place to make sure it cuts properly. So we'll just grab a piece of that tape that I have over here. Now I'm making sure that I keep the tape outside of the die. You don't want to stick tape to your foil image because that might not, it might lift the foil off. So I'm just going to run this through my die cut machine. And we're just going to die cut around. So it's going to get rid of all that extra foil. And you're going to end up with a foiled black piece. So see how nice that is? So you've got black in the background, but you've got that gold foil all the way around. So that's using the negative piece. So you can get an image like this using the foil plate, and that's on white. You can do it on black as well. And that will give you anywhere there's a raised section, it's going to foil that. The negative piece is going to give you the reverse. So see everywhere there's white on this one, there's foil on that one. So isn't that cool? The negatives can be used. It's a much more shimmery look, but it is really, really awesome. Now I want to show you what you can do if I do it on white. So I've already done the glimmer on this one. So exact same process. No, I can't do that. We got to do it anyway. Okay, so let's pick a different one. So see what happens with the tape? It lifts it right off. So you want to make sure that you don't stick your tape to the foil. Okay, and then, oops, I'm going to grab a piece of white hammer mill paper. Here it is. Okay, and we are going to do the negative again. This time, I'll pick the Y butterfly. So I'll just trim that off. And we can also do the love word too. We can do a few. You know what? We get this whole thing on. Let's just do it all. Okay, I got to make sure I get it all on the plate. Okay. Woohoo. Okay, and I'm going to put this over top. Now I know already that that's good and hot. The plate's been sitting on there, so I'm not going to start the timer. Okay, so I'm going to put this on top now. Take this off, and we're going to run that through. So we're going to do it all on white paper this time. Just running it through my die cut machine. So you get different results when you foil on different colors as well. Like, so the open areas of your foil design, the paper will show through. So you can definitely get some different looks by doing it on different colors of paper. Okay, let's just lift this up here. I'm not going to dock this because I don't want my plate to get too hot. Okay, so now we've got foil stuck to this. So what we can do now is we can take a die and cut that out. All of these things can get cut out. And what that's going to look like is this. Okay, so you've got foil everywhere and then the white openings. Now, what's really cool about this, if you're very careful, you can take this and you can do some ink blending on it. So let's take that rainbow blend. Okay, we'll start with our blue. We're going to go backwards this time. Here's my blue brush. Okay, so we're going to take that blue ink and we're going to start blending up here. Okay, and now we're going to come in with the green. So now you're filling in your white cardstock with ink after you've foiled it, which is okay. Make sure you overlap your colors a little bit so you get a nice blend. And it can go right over top of the foil, because when we're done, we'll just give it a good wipe. Now we're going to come in with our yellow. Okay, we're going to kind of get that yellow in the middle there, overlapping the green a bit. Now we're going to get that mango. We're just going to keep that kind of down at the bottom here. Overlapping that yellow, coming up into the top, and then we'll finish off with our pink. And now you've transformed a white background into a very colorful background. And again, you can go with a solid color if you want to. And then I just take my cloth and I just lightly brush over top, and any of the ink that's attached itself to the foil will just let go. Okay. So now you've got that beautiful foiled image with your ink blending. And that is the waste that we've used there. Okay, so that very much differs from the look that we had with this set when we added color, when we have white and we stamped. So now the color is in the opposite areas, which is also really cool. Okay, so let's see. We've got some questions here. Can the negative be used? Okay, so Marie Jose is saying, if my foil doesn't stick to the paper, what am I doing wrong? Okay, so could be a few things. It could be too hot. It could be not hot enough. Could be not enough pressure. And it also could be that the type of paper you're using is not friendly with foil. So you definitely have to play around a little bit. And I always tell people, when you're learning to foil, do not pull out the wedding invitations that you have to create for your best friend and try it for the first time. Okay, so you're not going to be using the best paper that you only have 3 sheets of. You're going to definitely want to choose some scraps, but maybe a scrap or 2 of something that is similar to what you're going to be using, and play with it and make sure that you get good results. Again, my mom was really struggling with a plate, and it turns out that the pressure on her machine was not as even. It's an older Big Shot. Like, she's had it for a lot of years, like a lot. She's done a lot of die cutting. So the pressure in the middle of her machine, although it doesn't affect her die cutting, was affecting the pressure on the foil plate. So the middle part of her foiling was not sticking, but the outside edges were sticking fine. So that ended up being the problem. So guess who bought herself a new die cutting machine today? So again, it can be a number of factors. It is not a perfect science. It is not. So there are going to be failures, and there are going to be things that don't work out quite like you wanted to. And you know what? If you don't love a certain technique, you just don't do that one. If it frustrates you, don't pick that one. Pick something else. So there's just so many ways that you can use them and get really good results. So awesome ideas, awesome fun things. Now there's one more thing. Well, a couple more things I'm going to show you quickly. I know we're almost at an hour, but just 2 quick things. I just want to make sure I'm answering all the questions. Colleen, I use Taylor's little bits, stars, snowflakes, etc., to cut out the leftover foil bits. Oh, 100%. So if you've got like this piece here, once you cut out the die cuts, you've got these foiled pieces, like this foiled panel. You can then take your dies for stars, hearts, like anything like that, and you can cut out, because this is foiled paper. So you can go ahead and cut that out. The love word that's here, when I cut that wasted piece out using the die, this is what I end up with, which is really quite pretty. So there's definite ways to use those offcuts and different things too. So definitely all these areas here, once you die cut these out, they're not garbage. You can totally cut stuff out of them. So even if you don't want to do the butterflies in the opposite look, do this technique and then, get some dies out and cut out other things. Even if you've got a small word that you can cut out and it'll be like a foiled word. So tons and tons of great things that you can do. So yeah, and then while you have it out, do it. Like, run all the things through the die cut machine and get it done. Okay, so that is super cool, right? All right, now I'm going to show you one more thing. Well, 2 more things actually. One of them is that you can actually foil on acetate. So I have some pieces here that are foiled on acetate. Now, you can try the acetate that you have. So here it is. See how that cool is? Now I die cut them out, but you don't have to. Like, you can do a window on something and foil it on the piece of acetate and then just put it on the front of your card as a window. And if you've got something that has text on it, that would look really cool. Like, there's tons of stuff you can use the acetate for. It's definitely a more formal look, which is really fun. You can try the acetate that you have, but I really recommend something that is a bit heat resistant, because you're going to put it right on this platform and it's hot. So you may find that the acetate that you have is too thin and it might melt. So you definitely want to try to use something heat resistant. So I'm going to remove this. Whoa, that magnet is strong, ladies, and it's no joke. I'm just going to put this foil panel. Wow, that's hot. Over here. And we're just going to do a quick sample with the acetate, just using one butterfly. So I'm just going to put that on there so it can start to heat up. And I'm just going to cut a small piece of acetate. I know you can't see it. So there's a couple of options. Spellbinders has what they call Glimmer Specialty Clear Film Sheets. And this is just a heavyweight, heat resistant type of acetate. It's very nice for foiling, but it's also really nice if you want to make like, if you want to make a clear card and you want to cut a piece and then score it and fold it, like this is not flimsy. It's nice and sturdy. And then Pink Fresh also just came out with heat resistant acetate. We've got lots of this stuff in stock. So if you don't have any and you want to add it to your stash, it's great to add. And then this one's a 6-pack and this one is a 10-pack. They're 8.5 by 11 sheets. So you've got lots there. I'm just going to cut out a piece of acetate to go over top of this butterfly. And we're going to foil the butterfly. Okay. And I have gold foil out, so I'm just going to go ahead and use gold. I've got my scissors. I'm just going to cut a piece quickly. Okay. And place that over top. And we're just going to wait for that to heat up. And then we're going to put the acetate on there and we're going to run that through. And I'll just show you how that looks. And then the last thing I want to show you is white foil on black cardstock. I know a lot of people like to have sentiments on black. It's very formal. And so to get that look, you have to stamp with Versamark or an embossing ink, and then you have to do heat embossing. And not everybody loves that, and it isn't foolproof. Neither is foiling, but if you have not done sentiments on black cardstock using white foil, you're missing out. So I am going to show you how to do that quick. The process is the same, but I just want to show you that look. And then we'll be done. So again, just to recap what we're using. If you love this set and what you're seeing, this is the set you're going to look for. It is called Butterfly Silhouettes, and it's a Betterpress plate. And it comes with the detailed plates to do the stamping and foiling. And then it also comes with a shadow plate. So it gives you options for that. And then it comes with the sentiment, the large love word, and then the supporting ones as well. Again, all of them can be stamped and foiled. Okay, so that's what we're using. It is a beautiful set. And butterflies are just classic. You can use them, like I said, for any theme. Mother's Day, birthdays, thank you, thinking of you. Just a note to say, like all of those things, butterflies work for everything. And they are multi-seasonal. Like you can just do so many things. At the very end, I'll run through my slides of just inspiration after you've seen all of this. Okay, so we're going to run this through. Same way we did. Oops, I guess I should put my plates on there. Same way we did for all the other versions that we did. So no different. The only thing is you're switching up your paper to acetate. And it's going to foil that design right on the acetate, which gives you that see-through window. So it gives you a very elegant and formal look, which is kind of nice too. Is it something that you're going to use every time you foil? No, but it's definitely something that is a great option to have when you want to create something like that. Okay, so we're just going to lift off my sandwich here. And we're going to lift this up. Whew. And you can see same concept as before. I'm just letting it cool for just a second. We're just going to peel off that foil and it has transferred on to the acetate. Isn't that cool? And then you can use the dies to cut it out. You can, again, use this as a window, a belly band on something, anything you want. You can create that beautiful foiled look on acetate. So it does work on that too, which is also a cool option. Okay, last thing I'm going to share is the white foil on black. Now I have sentiments that are part of this set, so I'll use those. I'm looking for my, oh, here it is. Ugh. We're going to get that and we're going to put it over here on the cooling rack. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, put our piece back in there. I'm going to grab that love piece and I'm going to grab a piece of white foil. So it's white foil. It comes in a 2-pack. We sell it black and white together. So you can do black on white as well. So rather than stamping it, you can foil it, which is kind of fun. I'm just going to use my scissors because I don't need a very big piece here. Okay, and then I'm getting a piece of black cardstock. So grab a piece here. Alrighty. So platform's ready. Foil. You want to make sure the shiny side goes down against your design. And then you're going to place the black piece over top. And we're going to run it through the same way we did before. Yeah, it's totally a great technique. I love it. I particularly like the white on black because it's a hard thing to get, easily with embossing powder. Like there's a lot of steps. If you've got this out, you just do a whole bunch of sentiments in it. And then they're just ready for you when you need them. That's what I like to do. So did we learn a few things? Maybe? Okay, I'm just waiting for this light to stop flashing and then I'm going to go run this through my die cut machine and we're going to have a beautiful love word in crisp white foil on a black background. And again, if you're making a wedding card, it's very elegant. Okay, here we go. I'm going to run that through. And here we go. And you can do these butterflies white on black cardstock as well. Like you can do that same technique. Oops, it's falling right off. Okay. Okay, so now we've got that beautiful love word. Isn't that amazing? So I'm just going to cut that out because I just think it looks so good. And no, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but this is actually pushed into the cardstock. It's not, it's very, very formal. It's very, very professional. I think it just looks amazing. So I'm going to actually use my die here. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to pull it off screen just so I can see what I'm doing because I don't want to ruin it. And I'm just going to quickly run this through my die cutting machine and it's going to have a beautiful word on black. Okay, here we go. Okay. Oh, so there we go. So now we have white on black. And that's just done with white foil. Isn't that great? I love it. I love it. Okay, so that is product spotlight. So I'm just going to quickly run through on the slideshow here the samples that I showed at the beginning of the video, because if you're coming in at the end, you might have missed it. Okay, so here we go. So that's the set we're using. We do have it in stock. It's fabulous, very easy to work with. The images are nice and I'll call them chunky so that they pick up the foil really easily. And this is just some ideas that I snagged from the World Wide Web on showing the butterflies and sentiments in action. Just so you can kind of see what they look like when they're actually on cards. which is cool. And lots of different looks too. So sometimes they're really colorful. Sometimes they're very simplistic. And that's the beautiful thing about this set is that you can do all of the things with one set. So you don't get bored. And I love this sample right here. I like to point out that the center butterfly is with using the detailed plate and the shadow plate, but the outside butterflies are just the shadow plate and then die cut out. So you don't have to use both together all the time. You can use them separately, which is nice. And again, it gives you different looks. So that one's my favorite. I love the color. I think it's really cool. And on this particular set, what they did with the ink blending on the shadow piece, they stamped it first with the black, and then they came in with that shadow piece, and they did their ink blending on that shadow piece around the outside and left the center kind of white. And then you can stamp it over a few times to build up that color, and that's how they get that that look. So, okay, that's enough. No more slides. Okay, well, that's it. That's it for me. Unless somebody has another question they would like answered, I'm happy to do that. This video will live on our YouTube channel, so you can come back and rewatch it as many times as you like. You can speed me up. You can fast forward to the sections that you want. You can pause, make notes, that kind of stuff. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you again soon.